As a fellow young person, I can say with some degree of confidence that people my age, so Gen Z, college grads, and young adults, we just typically don't like having a lot of stuff. The wave of minimalism has taken over, and I think a lot of young people have realized that they just don't like living in a very cluttered environment. This can make gift giving really difficult because what do you get a person who has an aversion to things? Although I try to keep my belongings as minimalistic as possible, there are some things that I've either been gifted or purchased for myself over the years that have really actually saved me a lot of time and money and had a measurable impact on my quality of life. And it's worth mentioning too that even for people who don't have a very minimalistic lifestyle, taste is subjective. You might get them a sweater or a piece of artwork that they just pretend to like in order to spare your feelings, but you can never go wrong with a functional, practical gift. Passing the cusp of adulthood has given me a newfound appreciation for functional, practical gifts that either improve my wallet or my life in some way. I've reached the age where I look forward to putting on a new pair of fluffy socks. Oh my god, what has happened to me? Anyway, in this video I will give you guys 10 gift ideas that I've personally used and recommend, especially for young adults like me who might be difficult to shop for. First up, we've got the sunrise alarm clock. So everybody's heard about circadian rhythms and how our bodies should just naturally know when we should be sleeping. Well, it turns out that a blaring alarm clock sound is actually not a natural way to wake up. I mean, who would have thought, right? This alarm clock, though, actually mimics the sun to gently wake you up over a period of time. It will turn on a very low light that will gradually increase in intensity over 30 minutes or 45 minutes or whatever setting you want. Essentially, the gradual light tricks your body into thinking that the sunrise is happening, therefore preparing you to wake up. When I use this alarm clock, I wake up feeling way more refreshed and just generally have a much easier time getting out of bed in the morning. There's a function that includes sound as well, just in case you don't wake up to the light, but I'd say about 90% of the time I end up waking up before the actual sound goes off. And this is especially useful in the winter, especially at higher latitudes where the sun might not come up until like 10 a.m. If you want to get the exact model that I use, the link to this alarm clock and everything else that I'll cover in this video will be in the description. Next, one of the few items I just cannot live without, the Instant Pot. I'm serious, if my entire kitchen burned down and the Instant Pot was spared, I would be okay. That is how much I love this thing. I'm not a huge appliance person. I don't have a bunch of storage space in my kitchen to store appliances, so it really has to be worth it for me to justify taking up the space. And let me tell you, this Instant Pot has justified its space in my kitchen cabinet 10 times over. It functions as so many different things, including a pressure cooker, slow cooker, rice cooker, yogurt maker, steamer, browning pan, and a warming pot. Most tools that aim to replace a bunch of different tools tend to do a pretty subpar job at everything, which is, the price of being a jack of all trades. But I would say that the Instant Pot, I think honestly, does everything pretty well. I consider myself a pretty good cook, but the one thing I've never been able to get right is rice. No matter how many times I've tried different recipes or different techniques, it always ends up too mushy or too dry or even burnt one time when I try to make it on the stove. But in the Instant Pot, it's perfect every single time. I say probably the best thing about the Instant Pot is that you chuck all of your food in, set the timer, and then just completely forget about it until everything is ready. There's no need to babysit your food like you might have to over the stove if you have to stir something constantly while it's being cooked. And for what it provides, it's really not a very expensive appliance, especially when you consider how much money you've saved over the years because cooking has been so much easier. And as a bonus gift, which I'm counting as a separate item, I found this really cute Etsy shop that does Instant Pot covers a while ago. I ordered one for myself, and then when it arrived, I immediately ordered a bunch of them from all my family and friends that I knew had Instant Pots. They make super cute, affordable gifts, and I really have to give kudos to the Etsy shop owner because this idea is genius. They attach with magnets, so you're not actually gluing anything or permanently adhering any cover to your Instant Pot. So it makes it really easy to take it off, to clean your Instant Pot, or swap out covers if you want to. So you guys may not have noticed, but I like plants. A lot. I actually have way more than just the ones you see in the background that I have to move out of the screen when I film because it's just way too overwhelming on video otherwise. Some plants, like these indoor houseplants, bring me absolutely no economic value whatsoever, but I would say that their psychological benefit is tremendous because I'm so much happier when there's greenery in my environment. Plants make awesome gifts, especially if somebody's moved into a new place and you want to bring them a housewarming gift. It's just such an easy way to bring warmth and vibrancy into the space. You can even pair them with a cute ceramic pot if you want to add something a little extra. There's a few plants that I recommend to beginners or people who claim that they have a black thumb. First is the pothos. I actually have a few, but this one here is my favorite. They're pretty hardy and don't require a whole lot of water, and they'll grow like weeds if the light conditions are good. They're viney plants and look great in hanging baskets just like this one, but a smaller one that you might get from your local nursery can do just fine in a normal pot. Another option is the ZZ plant. Seriously, this plant is like the cockroach of the houseplant world. It could survive almost anything, and in fact it thrives under neglect. When I moved into this apartment, there was a ZZ plant in a big container that my roommate told me hadn't been watered or pruned in months, and honestly, it looked totally fine. And then the third option is the peace lily. Unlike the other two, this plant actually really likes water. This can be a good option if you have a tendency to overwater and accidentally drown your plants. They're known for being absolute drama queens because they will completely wilt and droop if they're thirsty, but once you water them, they perk just right back up. If you want your gift to be a little bit more functional, rather than just a feel-good home decor piece, you can gift herb plants. I have several on my kitchen windowsill that I use all the time for cooking. Just clip off the leaves that you need at the stem, water them occasionally, and they'll just grow right back. Fresh herbs are a huge flavor upgrade over dry herbs, and they're really expensive if you buy them in store, so if you're able to grow them yourself, you get endless herbs for free. Next gift idea I have for you guys is a smart home device like Google Home or Alexa. These items can be a little bit controversial. Some people don't like the idea of having technology in their homes that's always listening, but it's really no different than carrying around a smartphone in your pocket all day. I don't think I would have ever initially purchased one of these for myself because I just really didn't see the point, but after I had one gifted to me, my opinion has completely changed. They're really useful for when you're lying in bed and want to know what the weather's going to be or what's on your calendar without having to turn on your phone. They're also great for answering just about any silly and ridiculous question that you can think of but don't care enough about to actually look up the answer yourself. Hey Google, how many wives did Henry VIII have?
6.
Hey Google, what's the temperature on Mars?
The average recorded temperature on Mars is approximately -81 degrees Fahrenheit.
From a practical standpoint though, they are so useful. I ask it what the weather is like outside every time I step out the door so I know how many layers to put on. When I'm cooking, I can ask it quick measurement conversions from a recipe. The ability to set multiple timers when you're cooking is also super useful. You don't need to wash your hands off just to touch your phone so you can set up a timer. You can just ask Google to set it up right away. And the speaker itself is actually pretty decent, so I often play music through it. And it's really easy to control because everything is done by voice commands, so I can just have it skip songs or change the volume or turn off completely. Also, sometimes I really like falling asleep to music, so you can ask it to put on music for a specified amount of time and then turn off, which I think is really neat. In a similar vein, smart LED light bulbs not only save you money on the electric bill, they're also super useful. I have mine linked up to my Google Home so I can control them from anywhere. Forget to turn off a lamp in the living room after you climb in bed? Well, if your lamp is using smart LED bulbs, you can ask Google to turn them off for you, or you can just use your phone. You can also have them turn on and off at specified times, which can help you save electricity depending on your usage. And LED light bulbs, either smart or not smart, are much more energy efficient than normal light bulbs, so these are a really great option if you're trying to save money on the electrical bill. Many of them also come on dimmers, which is really nice. The lamps in my bedroom use smart LED light bulbs, so I have them turn on really low before going to bed at night, which is much nicer than bright, harsh light. I will say though, as functional and awesome as LED smart light bulbs are, I don't think many people would be too psyched to receive light bulbs as a gift. So I would definitely consider pairing these with a smart home device like Google Home or Alexa, or something similar if you have the budget. The next practical gift idea I have for you guys is also a two-parter, although they can definitely be given separately. And that's a durable insulated water bottle and a water filter. Most people actually do not drink nearly enough water. If you're tired, lethargic, or you have a headache, many people think that you just need to eat some food, but in reality, you're probably just dehydrated. Studies show that adults need between 3 and 4 liters of water a day, and if you feel thirsty, your body needed water 30 minutes if not an hour ago. I think a lot of people end up not drinking enough water because they don't always have water next to them. Before I got my water bottle, I just drank glasses of water at home, but this meant that I had to fill up my glasses a lot more often, the water didn't even really stay cold for very long, and it had a much greater chance of spilling and making a huge mess everywhere. I did a lot of research before buying a water bottle, and I ended up with this one here from Hydro Flask. They have a reputation for making really great water bottles, and for good reason. I take this thing everywhere with me now. It's made of stainless steel, so it's really pretty durable. I've dropped it so many times, and the worst that's ever happened is just a small dent in the side. It keeps my water cold for hours and hours, and I guarantee this thing will last me a decade, if not more. I personally recommend the straw option for the lid because I really like being able to drink water with just one hand. I had the twist-off lid that it came with for a while, but I found that I wasn't drinking enough water because it was just such a hassle to open sometimes. Buying bottled water is not only a pain to store because it's so bulky, it's terrible for the environment, and it's expensive, especially when you consider that you can get essentially free water from your tap. I actually live somewhere where the tap water is pretty decent, but I'm still not a huge fan of the taste, and I really like cold water, and my tap doesn't always get super cold, especially in the summer months. And that's where this bad boy comes in, the water filter. This is a Brita water filter, but there are a bunch of different brands out there. I've had this one for several years now, so it looks pretty beat up, but it still works perfectly fine. You just fill it up with tap water here, and then it slowly drips down as the water goes through the filter. I like to keep mine in the fridge so that the water is always really cold. Basically, all of the water that I drink on a given day goes through this filter, and I only really need to change out the filter insert every 3 or 4 months or so. Next up, we've got an e-reader device like a Kindle. And also I realized that the Kindle here just died like right before I started filming this, so hence why it says empty battery. I got this Kindle as a present, I don't know, like 10 years ago probably. I don't even know what model it is. It's still got the keyboard down here, which all of the modern Kindles definitely don't have. Let me tell you though, this thing is a beast. There are few electronics that can work for over a decade and still function just fine, and this is one of them. For people who are more minimalistic, or for people who travel around a lot and just can't have a physical set of books, a Kindle is a great gift, especially for voracious readers. One thing that a lot of people don't actually realize is that you can check out ebooks from your local library. Publishing companies will give libraries a few licenses of a specific ebook, and it works just like physical books. Somebody will check out that ebook license, and then they'll have a set amount of time that they need to return it, at which point the license is then given to someone else. I still read a lot of physical books now because I'm more established in one place, but especially when I was a college student, I used my Kindle all the time because I knew that I was a student living abroad and I just couldn't have a collection of physical books because there was no way I'd be able to bring it back home with me. And I also bring my Kindle on all of my trips and vacations because it's really easy to just pack in a suitcase, and it's a great way to be entertained on downtimes. Also, reading on a Kindle is nothing like reading on a tablet or a computer. Kindles use like a special type of temporary ink that works very differently than the kind of screens that we're used to seeing on computers. This method is so much easier on your eyes, and it honestly feels like you're reading a real book. The extra benefit of this method is that it makes the battery last a really long time, so I usually go weeks between charging my Kindle, except right when I'm about to film when it decides to die. So for my final gift idea, I kind of lied at the beginning of this video when I said that all of these gift ideas were things that I've personally used and recommend, because this is the one thing on the list that I have not received yet. I do think it's a really great gift idea, and so if I have any family or friends watching, hint hint. And that is a monogrammed passport holder. I've seen people use them in airports and other places, and I've always thought they were so neat. Not only do they protect your passport from the elements, they also add kind of a unique identifier, so it's less likely to get lost and less likely for somebody to pick up your passport and think it's theirs. There's also probably some element of theft protection in there as well. It's not always immediately obvious what it is if you're not used to seeing passports in passport holders, so criminals might ignore it. At the very least, it's a great gift idea for the world traveler. And people my age tend to really value experiences over things, so we like to travel a lot, so a passport holder is something that's really functional and practical. I don't have any specific recommendations on passport holders because, like I mentioned before, I don't actually own one yet, but Etsy is a really great place to go if you have specific, customized gift ideas like this. And that wraps up this video. I hope you guys enjoyed these 10 practical, functional gift ideas. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up. It really helps small creators like myself get noticed by the YouTube algorithm. I make videos every week on a range of all sorts of different personal finance topics, so consider subscribing and turning on the bell notification if you want to see more content like this. Thanks for watching, and I will see you all next week.